Just F It.
Hi, I'm Romy, an identity coach helping others who struggle with their sexual identity and families of queer youth find their path of understanding and acceptance.
And I'm Carla, a mom empowerment coach empowering moms to own their new identities and motherhood journeys.
And together we are the EFF IT Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an F It moment. So here we go. Just F It.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Camaraderie Mondays.
Motivation Monday.
Camaraderie, mompreneur, manic, motivational.
Case of the Mondays.
Yeah. All of
Moving them. Monday. Monday. I'm just making up shit.
They said moving Monday. I'm like, not yet.
Not yet.
Booty. Yes.
Carla, who are we?
I'm Carla, this is Romy, and we are the EFF IT Madres, which we said F it about a year ago. And,
yes.
So we decided to start this podcast because we wanted to find other moms who have said F it or in the midst of it like we are or are wanting it because, you know, these moments are pivotal moments in our lives and they can change the trajectory of our lives if we decide to follow through with them. And so we thought it would be really inspiring to hear stories from other women that have gone through it or in the midst of it like us or want to have it because it's a really hard thing to take that first step. And it's that first step always leads to something great, even if maybe it doesn't work out exactly the way that you thought. It changes your mindset. It changes your life path for the better, no matter what. And so we wanted to create a space for those stories because everybody's stories matter. And we want to have amazing mamas on that have had those moments or like us in the middle of them or want to have them. So
and we did create a space and you're here. So if you're tuning in, this is because we did it.
We did it.
We effing did it. So if you're listening right now, that's because we effing did it.
Yeah.
We have an amazing mama coming on today. Her name is Sarah, and she is a friend of one of my daughter's best friend's moms. Her mom listens to our podcast and had this story and shared it with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting and definitely something we would love to share. So Sarah is going to join us today and share her F It moment of putting on a concert.
For her 40th birthday,
her 40th
right?
Birthday. Yeah. And reconnecting with like herself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's different.
It's really awesome story.
Yeah. It's a different story than what we've had on before, but it is definitely like she said F it and wanted to do this and reconnect to her past of music and singing. So yeah I'm excited to hear. I always wanted to be a singer myself in another life.
I was like, are we throwing a concert for our 50th?
I don't know, maybe.
Are we throwing a
concert? It's
gotta
be a salsa concert.
Bowl, just a salsa party for the EFF IT Madres turning 50.
Hey man, like another life, I would have been a salsa singer. That's for damn sure.
All right, Salinas. Well, let's hear our Monday Madre.
All right, we're gonna bring her in just a sec. All right, everybody, we have Sarah Covey with us, and we're gonna just jump right into the questions. So Sarah, when did you decide to just F it and why?
Well, I have been a singer my whole life. I started studying music when I was 11, went to music school, and really had a really amazing kind of career as a backup singer for a little bit. I got to sing and open for Maroon 5 and do some really cool things in my early 20s. But then life kind of took its own form. I got married and had 2 daughters. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't really singing anymore. And it had been probably since the birth of my first daughter, about 6 years, since I'd actually sung anywhere publicly besides maybe my shower. And so when my big birthday, my 40th birthday was coming up, I thought to myself, man, I just would rather do a concert than anything else. And I talked to a few girlfriends about it. They were super supportive, and it just kind of took on a life of its own where I decided instead of getting a bunch of people together, like, why not just produce this concert? And so I had a 40th birthday party concert.
Wow. You have all this on like recorded. I'm hoping, right?
Yes. Yeah, yes. I mean, in my day job, I have produced really big events for like Fortune 50 companies. And so I had, the skill set, and I just thought, oh, well, why don't I just call some old friends and see if they might sing with me? Even people, one of my guitar players, I hadn't seen him in probably 11 years. And I Facebook messaged him and was like, would you be interested in doing this crazy idea with me? And he was so enthusiastic and said yes right away. So every single person that I talked to about it just seemed to get really excited. And that really made me feel supported and really made me want to continue to do it. So, yeah, it took on a life of its own.
I think that's a very inspiring thing for our 40ths, because I feel like we were saying, Carla and I had our EFF IT moment when we turned 40, but
Yes.
also turning your birthday into something that really goes inside of what you need in your soul, as opposed to just a party, which is so like really taking a different spin on your 40th, or like those big new chapters of your life. I wish more people would do that. I should do that. Like, I'm inspired by that.
Yeah. Well, and, I think being a mom and a working mom is hard enough, but through COVID, like I had just felt so depleted over those few years, and really lost myself through it. I decided that the only way back to being me was going to have to be through being vulnerable and being myself in front of people. And I just kind of went on this journey of like, let's be authentic at every turn, and let's use your gifts that you've been given. And I think trying to tout that message gave me a bigger purpose. And like I said, when it took on a life of its own, there was no way that I wasn't going to get up on stage and do it. The last month, I had so many people that were like, this is amazing. You're so crazy. And I love it. Like, I will be there and we want to see you shine. So I'm very blessed in that way.
How many people were there?
I invited it kind of became a small wedding. I should be embarrassed. I really should be embarrassed about that, but I invited maybe 125 people, and there were that many there.
Oh
Um,
my God.
and it was 90 minutes long, 14 songs. I had the first set was an acoustic set with a guy that is an immensely talented guitar player, and then the second half was with a band that I used to sing with, a bunch of guys that are like a funk band. So it had kind of a like more acoustic first half, and then the second half was really funky and jazzy. There was some like Lizzo songs and things like that. But I wanted it to be very eclectic and really be like me. I mean, I think when you get to a certain age, and also when you have your own kids, you're telling your kids, be yourself, go after your dreams, and you're not ever saying those messages back to yourself. And
Yes.
I really just felt compelled that like I'm going to make this 90 minutes the coolest 90 minutes that I could have ever produced, and have it be the gift to myself. And I didn't want anyone to bring me anything. I just wanted their presence to be my present. I wanted to do that for all of my friends. And I will never forget seeing, locking eyes with my sisters in the front row. I have two younger sisters, and their eyes are like brimming with tears during one pretty sad song. And then in another song, my dad, I can just see him beaming with pride. It just, I think when you are yourself and you turn that light on, you really are giving everybody around you permission to do the same. And certainly my family and friends were like, why don't you sing anymore, for years? And I was like, I don't have time. I can't. That's not me anymore. And I was really lying to myself. Really.
I mean, I think everything you said is something that Carla and I have said at some point in the last year, in just terms of like, we are saying so much of this to our children. We're putting this message out there, but like, are we looking at ourselves and giving ourselves permission to do all that we want to do or be all that we want to be? And it is an easy thing that is, I feel like, stolen from us, like, but we allow it, right? We allow it to
Yes.
be taken from us when we get older and we get lost in the work and the motherhood and the marriage or the, life. And then there's still that part of us, that like wants it, that craves it. And it's only those that do make those decisions. That's why we have this, that say F it and just go and find it again. And
Yeah.
we were just saying before you came on this, Effort moments don't have to be some huge career change or move, or they don't have to be things that are so dramatic. They can be so little as to do something like this in your life for your birthday, for your own happiness and soul.
Yeah. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And, it had rippling effects that cascaded across my life. If anyone out there has been a professional singer or has been a professional athlete, like, your body is your instrument. I was like, my body was not as physically healthy as it had been. And I started taking some voice lessons again. I started a daily yoga practice that I have not given up and I will never give up, to reconnect myself to my breath. So, I just feel like when you make that decision to say, I'm really going to put this one thing that matters to me as a priority, then you never know the other small things that can be positive outcomes from it. And I have really seen that in my life, and I don't think I'll ever go back. Like, I can't imagine going back from this point.
Well, you answered my next question, right? About like, what did you do about it? That's what you did about it. So you answered that question there. You took
Yeah.
voice lessons, you took time. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm sure just doing that, the act of doing that, gave you a different mindset, like switch. Like getting back up there and doing that connected you to a part of you that had been, I guess, put aside for a while, and it just shifted it to this other, back to where it needed to be, which ultimately puts that energy out there, which ultimately attracts those things to you. So like, yeah, like Romy said, those things don't need to be like these huge, huge, huge effort moments. It could be this thing that you needed to do, but it ultimately shifts the trajectory of your life some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So
100%.
yeah.
100%.
I'm curious though, like, having not done it for a few years and then deciding to do this and have this moment, how did it make you feel?
Yeah. Um, I mean, it certainly made me feel younger. I started thinking about, you know, like 18-year-old me a lot, actually. And this is a strange phenomenon, but honestly, when I look in the mirror now, like I see her.
Mm.
And so therefore I see myself. Like I think if you've ever had a moment where you kind of like go through the dark night of the soul and then you come back from it, um, I didn't recognize myself at some points in turn, and now I mean, viewing pictures of my birthday party, seeing pictures of me now, because I've made a goal to sing once a month at least, as much as my family could allow me to be out in the evenings and things like that. Which I am doing actively, am gigging now, which is so great. I see pictures of myself doing that, and I just look like me, like I recognize me again. And so that makes me feel incredibly happy and just fulfilled. I feel like me. And I think it's very easy as a mom to, not really even spend the time looking in the mirror and knowing, like, is my reflection something that I recognize? And it's not from a place of vanity. It's from a place of like your spirit, because the inside is going to shine outside, So, yeah, I just feel like so good, and that's what matters.
Yeah. For sure. And your kids are seeing that, like they're sensing that, like, oh, wow, this is a side of my mom that, has been needing to come out. So it's a great example for them as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we say this a lot on here, but even just hearing this, it's like re-triggering it. But it's just that so many of us moms right now, like at this age in this generation, are putting so much like importance on like finding us again. And we come from generations where our parents kind of lost that. And I'm just seeing that in our generation of all of us women that are in our 40s that are like, we can do it all. We
Yeah.
are not just moms, and that's okay. And giving each other permission
Yeah.
to be who we were before we were moms. And that does not mean that we're bad moms. Like that
Yeah.
type of permission from each other and the support and the stories, like your story is so inspiring. And like, I know Carla and I too, like there were moments we didn't recognize ourselves, you know? And like, I've always done podcasts and TV and been a public speaker. And over the last year doing this has felt like me again.
Yeah.
And then it's been something new for Carla where it's helped her, you know, find who she is in this journey. I think it's really cool that we're all taking these steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also wonder if it's because, you know how we always talk about like our generation and younger are so much more mindful in the way that we parent our kids,
Mhm.
and we are so much like encouraging our kids to be true to themselves, that I wonder if subconsciously it's like, well, shit, we we
Yeah.
as their parents need to be true to ourselves. If we're asking that of our kids, well, not asking, but we're telling our kids they need to be, we need to show them that, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like we're stepping into that and showing them that it is important to, you know, walk that journey.
Yeah. We're leading by example.
Definitely. I think too, you know, we have one conversation that the message is, if you're a mom, you need to do everything for your kids and you lose yourself in that. But then we have this other conversation about aging as a woman in this society. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you're not like tucked, pulled, sucked in all the things, then you also
Mm-hmm.
aren't good enough and you're going to lose yourself in body dysmorphia and all of that. So I think for me, this all kind of converged together and was like, oh my gosh, do I have the capacity to, just by doing something that I love so much and just by being passionate about it and letting other people see me and be a part of that process, do I have the capacity to actually feel younger, feel more vivacious, feel more alive, feel like myself? Yes, yes, I have the capacity to do that. I have the power to actually do that for myself rather than relying on all of these things that come on the shelf and cost money and things like that. You know, I guess my thought would be, if you're feeling that way, it starts here. It starts with opening your heart and really looking inside and finding that thing that lights you up and doing it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much we work on the outside. Like, it really is something about doing the things that make you the most happy, that make you the most like youthful, right? That make you giddy and fun. And you feel like when we're dancing, Carla, you know, or we're like karaoke, when we're just being like us,
Mm-hmm.
it's the best feeling in the entire world.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but like when I looked at my parents as kids, like they always looked so old to me because they were miserable. You know? It's like miserable people just seem older because they're just like, they're sad. They're like not standing up like in their power. They're just, I don't know. So like I think you're right. Like there's a vivaciousness that comes
Well,
with
that's
these.
like the opposite, Carla. My mom has always been that youthful dancer,
That's
crazy
true.
person, you
Yeah.
know, and she's like 60 dancing on the beach like a crazy
Yes.
person because her soul feels young.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't tell her that she's in her 60s because she's
Yeah.
not trying to hear it. She's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
live her life like she's in her 20s till the day she dies.
Well, there you go.
And I'm here for it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. But I think that's such an important message. And I think I'm so glad that you touched on just like the age part of it and how we, you know, we get lost in like trying to look younger, but like we forget to try and feel younger, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
We just want
Yeah.
to look younger, but we forget what it feels like to be that younger self that was full of life and ambitions and dreams and hope. We are not dead, people. Like, we have
Mhm.
a whole life ahead of us. We're young. We can still
Yeah.
start a podcast, become coaches, become a singer. We can do whatever we want and raise kids. You know, we can do it all.
Mhm.
So, my next question then would be like, what did it do for your family by doing this?
Well, I mentioned that I've been still doing some gigs and like have a goal to do more. Um, so while my girls were not at my concert, it was a big thing when my family came into town and everybody was there. And so they were like, Mommy's singing at a place. And so that was so fun to see them kind of get like, oh, Mommy's doing something that like other mommies may not do. First and foremost is what they got. And then secondly, now that I'm like continuing to sing, they'll ask me to watch videos and they ask me like, oh, did you take a video? Did you have a picture? And they view me on stage and it's like this magical place that Mommy gets to go to that like they don't go, this stage place. And I just see this like spark in them that, you know, they I think I hope that it's like building the confidence in them that even someday down the line when they're 40 and they're considering,
Mhm.
what is it that's going to inspire them to live the rest of their lives, the next half of their lives. Maybe they'll think, my mom did this thing when she turned 40 and it was cool and it was weird, but it was cool. And maybe they
Yeah.
will find their own cool, weird thing that they can do. So
Yeah,
I hope that I'm planting seeds that will, grow into big trees later on for them.
totally.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, so you're starting to get back into it then. And that was like the catalyst to get you to get back into it. So do you have any fears that come up for you that could like potentially take you back to where you were before you had this effort moment at all?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I certainly could talk about the fears I had going into it, which really were around, are people going to think this is nuts? Are people going to think I'm like an egomaniac, like doing the whole concert for myself after 6 years of not singing, all these things. Um, I still think the fear around like, are people going to think I'm too much? Is still there a little bit, which has a tendency for any human being to make them want to close in and close down.
Mm.
That
Hmm.
like, oh, if I'm too much, if I'm being too out there, or too much of myself, maybe then people will judge me and think
Hmm.
that like, who is she to think that she can do that, or who is she to think that she deserves that time, or that is something for someone who is 20 years younger than her, not a mom. But I am very lucky that most of my community is pretty supportive, and again, I think, they they want to also do the same for themselves. So I try not to surround myself with people who are going to bring me down. And I just feel very lucky that, it's just been a place of all love. It's been really received with a lot of love. So I hope that sustains me as I go forward, and not allows me to want to quit again.
I mean, I think it's really super important to have that support around you. And honestly, anybody that's talking or being like, I can't believe that she's doing this. Well, the thing is, you are doing it. What are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, you have the guts to get up there and do something for you that you want to do. These
Yeah.
people are going to judge. Like, what are they doing? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I really was when I went into this process. I was afraid that I might lose a couple friends, honestly, because some of the songs that I chose to sing were kind of out there. There was like, a rap song that I did. I just love all kinds of music. So again, like, I was worried that like I would get a lot of weird side hugs at the end, like "great job, okay," and like,
From like
um,
more of a conservative friend, you mean?
yeah,
Like you're
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or like people who, maybe were like, I don't know, when you're confronted with someone who's doing the things that they love to do and you're not, misery loves company. So it's,
Yeah.
it's a little bit hard to kind of put your own self aside and be happy for other people sometimes. And so I knew that going in, and I was like, the best thing that I can do is continue to hold space for those people, no matter what their reaction is, because somewhere down the line, they're going to maybe have that moment. Usually right before you get your effort moment, you're really in a dark place. So,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
maybe they are having that dark place right now, and then they're about to have their effort moment. And I'm just going to continue to stay in my confidence, in my truth, and do the thing that I know I wanted to do. And hopefully, I won't have to be distracted by that, and they'll be inspired later.
Yeah.
Everybody, I know this, I've dealt with this my entire life, and I'm glad you touched on it. And I think it's important too. It's just that whenever you put yourself out there and other people are not, and maybe
Yeah.
like you said, they want to, but they don't know how, or they're afraid to, or it's scary for them and they feel held back in some way. When they watch other people do that, you're going to either find people that are like, I love this for you. I wish I could do this. Hopefully one day I can be as brave as you. And then you're going to find people that are angry at you for doing what they can't do. So like Carla said, what are they doing? And I love that you're holding space for them because that's their journey, no
Yeah.
hate, but love that you still create space for you to not be held back by them. Because
Yeah.
so often we're held back by people that are holding themselves back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just need to find our people that are totally letting us grow and letting us evolve and letting us be on our journey. And we still hold space for them. We love them. But
Yeah.
it's like I've been saying lately, and I said this recently, I was like, let me grow or let me go. Like, if you're not on the journey, like just let go of whatever tightness you have on me because I'm trying to go on mine.
Yeah.
And so I love that you brought that up because that is definitely a fear for people is the judgment from our family, from our friends, what people are going to think of, are we too much?
Yeah.
And the answer is no, we are not too much ever. If
Yeah.
we're doing what makes us happy.
Yeah. And if we're doing what makes us happy, then we are actively in a space of creation, a space of joy, a space of love. And love is the life force of everything. And
Mhm.
so, if we are doing the thing that we're meant to do, we are putting more love into the world. I firmly believe that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, why would I waste my time worrying about people, who aren't there yet? I'd rather just say, that's okay. You can get there or not, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to just continue down this path and I'm going to do it with love and with grace and just keep moving forward, because I really think when you do the thing that you're meant to do, you just make everything better for everyone around you. You just do.
It is 100% true. Everybody that we've interviewed, friends, family, people that I've known, and I'm sure, Romy, you've encountered people, the minute that you step away from what was not serving you and you step into your light, everything changes and for the better. Like, even if you fall down a couple times, you still end up being so much happier this leg around than you were before. And you're right. It's all out of love. So like, it's
Mm-hmm.
only going to be amazing
Yeah.
for everyone, not only yourself. So that is absolutely true.
It's
Thank you for
also
saying
one
that.
of the best things that we can do as moms. And I think so often
Yeah.
we forget that this small little thing that we are talking about, leading by example, being genuinely happy, doing what we love, feeling in our power, putting ourselves out there. I mean, doesn't matter what lessons our kids are learning at school. We all know that that is a lesson that like really will help them in their life in every area of their life.
Yeah.
Mhm. So would you say that how you stay moving forward in your EFF IT momentum is just following that light and just continuing on this path, or
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah. I would say that. I would also say that, like, just continuing to put myself out there in times when I think that I don't have time. I'm very, very grateful to my family and to my husband, and like they have seen the good and the bad of me singing or not singing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that they recognize that I need it, and they too make space and prioritize it for me. So, um, I think just continuing to put myself out there, continuing to just, talk about this story in some ways. Right now I feel my body like getting re-energized. I'm like, yeah, that was really cool. I'm so proud I did that. Like, I want to get up there and do it again, So, yeah, I just say, like, stay on the course and keep putting yourself out there.
Yeah, that's a good one. The putting yourself out there is like the hardest step to take for people that, I mean, I would say, at least for myself, that was for this. Like, I'd put myself out there and that was a hard thing. But the minute you do, it's like a snowball effect. And we've
Yeah.
talked about this before. Like, the minute you have like an effort moment, then there's like a bunch of other effort moments that come about because
Yeah.
of that shift and that decision that you made. And so, like, putting yourself out there is a really, even if it's hard for you, it's an important thing to do because you just never know what's in your path if you don't
Well, and I
do it.
think a really important piece of that I should mention, literally the act of getting on stage is like you're in the spotlight, like you're in it. It's an act of bravery, and I think most people are like, "Oh man, okay," that terrifies a lot of people to be on stage. Um, But I think so. If you've not experienced that, you might look at someone who can do that as someone who's very brave and maybe has a big ego, or like they have some kind of superpower in that realm. I don't view it that way, because I believe that anything artistic, especially related to music, is healing in a way that, like, a doctor can be a healer. And so,
Mm-hmm.
as an artist, I feel like it's my duty to get up
Mm-hmm.
there and to connect with the audience or connect with someone, so that they can feel in their heart whatever that message is from the song. Like, you hear a song about a breakup and it helps you piece together the breakup you just went through. Things like that can be incredibly powerful, and kind of puts back those broken pieces that maybe you don't have words for. So I think to continue forward, yes, stay on the path. But what I really want to be clear about is, I connected to a higher purpose, which is, it's
Mm-hmm.
not about me when I get up there and sing. It's about my duty as an artist to try to help you bring forth in your healing. And that inspires me to continue to go forward.
I read a quote today that was like, one of the forms of intimacy is when you send a friend like music, and it's so true. Like, how do we like get to an intimate level with people? Most of the time, it's by sending a song or hearing a song with someone that we connect to with all these things in our lives, or emotions, or weddings, or deaths, or loves. Like, it's all through music.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful, yeah, it's such a beautiful healing thing that singers and musicians and everybody like offer us. So I love that. My last question then to you would be like, what advice would you give to anybody who's going through this, and what would you tell them?
I would just say, keep going. Um, even the moments when you're feeling like this is not going to come together, or I'm all alone in this, or I'm too tired. My kids are driving me insane. Like, I don't have time. I can't. Even in those moments, just do like the next right thing and keep going. Because all of that is a part of your journey. All of that down the line is going to be helpful in giving you that extra boost of energy to say, no, I really really want to fill in the blank. Whatever that is. I
Mm-hmm.
really want to have my podcast. I really want to form that moms group that I've been saying I wanted to form. I really want to get back into a fitness regimen, whatever it is. Those moments when you think you can't and you decide that you can, those are the ones that will keep you going and moving. So just decide and keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Mhm.
Like, that's it. That's what we made a choice. We said F it. We're still here.
Yeah.
Ups and downs and hards and lows and moves and whatever it may be. You just got to keep going if you
Yeah.
want it. Yeah.
But it's like not as scary as you make it out to be. I mean, it's
100%.
got like, you know what I mean? It's got moments, but like ultimately it's not as scary as you have built it up in your own head. So like, yes, you just have to do it and just keep going, cuz it's you can get through it. It's not that bad.
Yeah. And
100%.
once it's not so scary, then you do something else and that's even bigger. And then you get this momentum and you keep building and building. So I 100% agree with that. It's not that scary. And it's also not that hard. Gosh, you can find an extra 30 minutes in your day for anything that you really care about. You
Oh, we
really,
know.
Yeah.
Oh, we know. We've been trying to find minutes
yeah,
everywhere in our day for the last year. And it's like, I think more women need to hear, like, we see you, we know, like, it's a lot, but if it matters, you'll figure out where to
Yeah,
squeeze it and how to do
if it
it.
matters, you'll prioritize
You'll
it. Like,
prioritize it. You'll figure
yeah,
it out.
you'll make it work. Mhm. And it will make you feel like you've got even more time in the day just because of the feeling that it gives you. Like you said,
yeah.
it makes you feel younger, it gives you the energy, you wanna do more, so it is very important to find that time for the things that you love.
Sarah, I just want to thank you so much for your time and for all the technical difficulties coming into this with us. But we are so appreciative of you coming on and sharing. I think this is a really special EFF IT moment. And I just love it. And I hope it inspires many others who are having their birthdays to do incredible things like this. Where in Austin can people see you? Where can they hear you? Can you give all your links and sites, whatever you want to share?
Oh my gosh, I feel totally unprepared because I am that still like really getting things going again so
Yeah.
that I don't really have much to say on that space. I have an Instagram. I think it's Sarah G. Covey. And I have been singing in the airport every once in a while. So if you're flying through Austin, Bergstrom Airport,
Yay.
you'll see me. But
Wow.
yeah, I honestly, I'm so grateful to have been a part of this. Thank you so much for asking me on. And my request of anybody listening is just like, rather than following me, like go follow your heart, go follow yourself, go figure out that thing and really like take some time, write it down and get it done. So yeah.
I
Oh,
love that.
that is a great message.
That was a good
Yes,
one. I like that
everybody
one
needs
a
to do
lot.
that.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to hear people now that are going through the airport that listen to this that are going to see you and be like, hey.
Where
So
is
that's always exciting because if I saw you, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just heard her on the podcast.
she?
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today. This is the end. We're just going to say
Just
F
F
it.
it.